Welcome back, terrestrials. In this episode, we're doing 1989's Nightmare on Elm Street 5. This
Dream
is when
Child.
it, Dream Job. Yeah, who cares? This is when it gets bad, guys. This is, you can make excuses for everything else in these movies. This is where it gets really bad. Jerry, what do you give this movie?
Give it a B minus.
Okay, I'll give it a C.
Okay.
There's some really cool things about it, but it's not
There are
nearly
some cool
enough.
things, but
It's
not
not
nearly
nearly, yeah, it's
not
not
nearly
enough.
enough to keep my attention. Yeah, this is the one where this is the least favorite. I don't like this one.
Mhm.
It's the least watched.
Yeah, this really felt like we ran out of ideas.
Are too many.
So I didn't even feel that there was too many to this one. I just feel like they didn't have a way to continue the story, and the only way to continue the story is baby. Let's involve a pregnancy. Let's involve a baby. And let's give the drunk dad a redemption arc. And it
Redemption.
was it was just like it was like there was no thought behind this one. They were running on a half-baked idea of a pregnancy, and they had to fill in the time with like the swimming girl just not believing her the entire time, which is typical for these movies, but this girl went out of her way to aggressively not believe her.
I
um
like that girl. I like that girl. So
okay, all right, well, but
especially because like her catch line in that is just girl,
mhm,
and she has like that voice, like
yeah,
Virginia Slim voice,
yeah,
just girl,
yeah,
and like every time just talking, and I'm just like, yes, fucking, she's just like one of the bees. She's
mhm,
one of the reasons I give it a B, you
yeah,
know.
okay. All right, well, all right, so there's a very big lack of story. There's a big lack of effort. I think the thing that we can agree on is the kills in this one, and the camera work and the puppetry is pretty cool for this one.
Right. And
Um,
that's the one thing, you know, how I've gone through this whole series going, I want to see Freddy Krueger kills somebody and the result on the other side. And
right.
each one of these has a result,
Mhm.
you
It
know.
started in the last movie.
Yeah, but each one of these, like, because there's only three deaths in the movie,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
there's three deaths,
Well,
and we get to not see the result, but there's a result, you know. Dan dies. He goes through a crazy Ghost Rider motorcycle
mhm. Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. It
He fell
was.
asleep in the truck, you
Yeah.
know. That's cool. The best one, the force feeding of the guts to the girl, and she chokes.
Mhm.
That's great. And then the comic book kid, you know, he gets sliced up in the fucking comic book dream world, and oh, that building collapsed on him, or
Mhm.
the shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, that was out of code and whatnot. That I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we are in cartoon land, and each one of them, except one, is just kind of silly sometimes. And they are hacked and slashed, because I think this is one of the strongest hack and slash that the parents that don't like horror movies cut ever. Because I know Dan's whole motorcycle scene, they had like a bunch more.
Mhm.
Like you could like more of those things going into his arms, and why his head kind of falls off and shit, and you know, and turns into a skull. I know there was more to that, but we didn't get it. We didn't
Yeah.
fucking get it.
I thought that the kills in this one were cool. The biggest thing for me to take away is number one, when you're in the insane asylum, when you first see the insane asylum full of, the room full of crazies, it looks like the beginning of a corn video.
Yeah.
It's very strange the way like Robert England's like bouncing around off of people and everybody's just doing weird
He's
shit.
itching his
So
shoulder like
yeah, yeah,
he's a junkie and shit.
yeah.
And fucking
But the world that they like the world that they continuously put Freddy in is great. I mean, it's creative. You know, the idea of like the girl diving and she dives through the pool into Freddy's world and to
Yeah.
all that stuff that they did towards the end of the movie was brilliant. They know how to do that.
Yeah.
It's the story that somewhere the story just didn't make any sense. So the rest of it couldn't be as performative as it actually should have been,
Hmm.
because like again, the Yvonne diving into the other world,
Yeah.
Mark, being the comic book guy, the he falls into the world, like all of the entrances and exits out of Freddy's realm are really good. While they're in the realm, it's really good. But then you come back out to a very boring ass movie. You come
Yeah.
out of those Freddy realms, and it's like, we would like to adopt the baby and raise it as our own. And no, you're not doing that. Well, you're a drunk. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
What am I watching right now? Like, what? No, put Freddy back in the movie. Like, you have the star of the movie, just and people want more than three kills, give it to them.
Hmm.
It's like they took a step back and said, let's, and I would hope that people didn't go, yeah, we really nailed that storyline. Like, let's go storyline driven this time. Let's put the little kid from uh what's the movie? Children of the Corn.
Fucking no, the kid from Jurassic Park. That's not very scary. Fucking
Yeah, yeah, him.
the
Yeah,
Velociraptor.
yeah, he's in one of the Children of the Corn though.
Oh, is he? Okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's the original. But or maybe it is. But yeah, like all of it, none of it made it was just
There's no
every.
consequence.
I just think that somebody really needed to not do so much cocaine. Like,
That or whoever was at the yes person
right.
just wasn't getting it. You know, like it would have been even better if they would have been like, okay, like Freddy 2, wipe the slate clean. Okay, Alice had her story. Kirsten had her story. She's gone now. Alice remains. Okay, swipe the slate clean
Mhm.
for bringing in a new style of Freddy Krueger. Maybe not like body possession Freddy Krueger, but just like new kids on Elm Street, you know, just like it's not that
Yeah,
hard. It's not that
yeah,
fucking hard. We don't need some kind of, like gimmick. Like, well, what else? Last one, it was okay. So it was a Dream Warrior, and
mhm,
then there was a Dream Master,
mhm.
and now what is it? The
And
Dream
also, where did all those
Child?
powers go? Where did all those powers go? They didn't like disappear. If I'm not mistaken, they didn't leave her body. So
I guess she used all those powers to kill Freddy off, and then she's like, "Okay, I'm fine."
there's just a million ways that you could have brought him back. I mean,
Right?
the idea of, because this isn't far after Hellraiser 2. So you
Hmm.
see little inspirations from Leviathan in this,
Yeah.
you
In
see in
the
Freddy's
dream
world.
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
like
like the stairs, like they're
exactly,
in
yeah.
that. I was like, "Oh, cool. That feels like a dream
Right.
type
That's
of
yeah,
world."
that's what I meant. Like everything inside of Freddy's realm is good about
Yeah.
this movie. It's just outside of it. So yeah, for those reasons, fuck this movie.
Who
It's
cares
not their
about
best
that?
work. It's not their
Yeah.
best work. That's
No.
all.
No. And yeah, like I will say though, a lot of that shit does get made up though for Gretchen, the model girl.
Mhm,
Her kill is the most memorable kill in the franchise, I feel. Next to
mhm,
Tina
mhm,
up on the wall. I love that whole thing with like Freddy's fingers are spoons and Bon Appetit, and it's comical, yeah,
But
but
it's also played out the same way because they just did the junkie getting needled up. Like they're
right.
using it's the same concept of like here's something that you're like is a concern for you. I'm going to use it against
Yeah,
you and
put
that's how I'm going to kill
the
you.
fucking that girl, let's get high girl,
Yeah.
the fucking next in line after that with like her arms puckering. But there's one scene after that where she comes out of the refrigerator,
Mhm.
and before that, like all the food in the fridge starts molding, and we see that great scene of her in that refrigerator trying to grab her and shit,
Mhm.
and her cheeks are all puffed out with that food.
Mhm.
And I really enjoyed that stuff. Like I was like, okay,
Eating
cool.
porn.
Huh?
Eating
Oh yeah,
porn.
yeah, sloshing.
Yeah.
Fucking yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that was a term, but
Yeah,
all right.
sloshing when you
Clear
watch
your
like
history, please.
yeah, just because I know what it is because of fucking John Waters. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, that whole 9 yards I enjoy,
Mhm.
but everything else kind of is just kind of like
Do your thing, Jerry.
do my thing. All right. Jacob, is this a cult classic?
No.
Yeah.
It is
I rarely hear anybody ever talk about this.
this unless they're going, man, that one was terrible.
No.
So
Jacob, do you own physical copies of this one?
yeah, because it came in the pack.
Yeah, same, same. Jacob, would you go see this in the theater?
No.
I don't know. I mean, no, I would,
I'm not gonna waste my time in a theater looking at this.
right. I think I would go and then go, I really don't like that movie.
Yeah.
So,
So
and
it's a weird conversation to have because it's like there's two parts of me going, yeah, that movie sucks. I don't want to go see it in theaters. But
right,
then also I want to be able to say I saw it in theaters and I never got the chance because I was
right.
3 years old. So
Especially if they release all of the Nightmare on Elm Streets. Like
right.
every week, we're releasing a Nightmare on Elm Street in the theater. It's like I
Week.
kind of have to go.
Yeah, maybe one a month or something. Or
Yeah,
but yeah. Yeah, I think that they're that in that regard, yes, to be able to say I saw them, but also
right.
yeah, no. Like
Yeah,
yeah,
not if it's just part five's
yeah.
there.
Yeah, for
It's just like I don't
re-releasing
give a
part
shit.
five.
Yeah,
Why?
why? Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
Who gives a shit?
No,
Like
no, no. Go put
four,
that back on the shelf.
yeah, four people will
Yeah.
and the remake question in this obviously doesn't make sense, but I have another throw in there. Jacob, what, if anything, if you could change this to make this a better movie? Okay. You still have these toys to play with. Okay. These kills, those characters, but what in general would you have kind of moved around a little bit to make it just a little bit more enjoyable?
Here's the thing with a question like that, it's always a fun question to play with.
Right.
Um, but when I don't like the movie, I don't spend a lot of time on how it could get better. There's a few things that I suggested like within like the review itself.
Yeah,
So
obviously.
if somebody was really that interested in my opinion, they'd go back and rewatch it because I'm not going to spend mental energy trying to fix a movie that's this bad.
Right.
I assume you have something, but for me, I just
Actually, I have nothing other than completely just
scrap it.
scrapping the fucking movie.
Start over.
And then,
Yeah.
like I said, just like, okay, fuck it. Alice's story, end it with Dream Warrior. Now we're just going to we're just going to call this one Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever, you know, no title underneath, or just Nightmare,
Or if you wanted to continue the Alice story, make her be seeing a therapist, and the therapist becomes obsessed with Freddy and brings Freddy back and is unleashed.
yeah,
Like,
like,
there's ways to go about it that are cheeky and interesting, but also, you know, they don't take such a turn away from just Freddy being the guy that comes in the dream. Like, you don't need a whole fucking storyline. Just
Right.
make the therapist like research and, concern herself with it, and then now boom, he's back because somebody feared him.
And
That's
Freddie
all it
is
that's all it
causing the
takes.
therapist now to like really go into like Freddie like
Yeah.
stuff. Like I
And then
have
we
to
can
pull
get more
Freddie out.
story.
And then
We
we
can
can get more story. Yeah.
Yeah, I love backstory. Like, it shows creativity when you get more and more backstory
Right.
on your slasher.
And it shows the
I
creativity
don't need it.
process of
Right.
like, oh yeah, we can do that,
Mhm. I don't
instead
need
of
their
like
social security number or blood type,
right.
but like the backstory, the origin story. That's why origin stories are such a big thing, because everyone has one technically,
Mm,
and then also when they're creative and they make them good, they're
hmm
super interesting.